More than 100 armed forces veterans have written to the Prime Minister condemning the targeting of Muslims and Dalits in the country, as well as what they say is a climate of fear and intimidation, including of the media. The letter signed by 114 veterans says, current events in India have compelled us to register our dismay at the divisiveness that is gripping our country. We have spent our careers working for the security of our country. Collectively, our group holds no affiliation with any single political party. Our only common commitment being to the Constitution of India. We stand with the Not In My Name campaign that mobilized thousands of citizens across the country. We condemn the targeting of Muslims and Dalits. We condemn the clampdowns on free speech by attacks on media outlets, civil society groups, universities, journalists and scholars through a campaign of branding them anti-national. We're joined right now by Major General S.A. Wambatkare, retired, of course. Thank you so much, sir, for speaking to us. Sir, before I get you to comment about the letter, I think what's important for us all to understand is the Prime Minister has, in fact, spoken about and against a mob lynching. And I said states need to uphold the law. So what more can he do? What more do you think this letter can achieve?
You see, this letter is not addressed only to the Prime Minister, it is addressed to the Chief Ministers of all the states.
All right, so you're saying all of them are obviously going to be held accountable, but how did it come about and what was the, the final push that made this letter happen?
There's no final push, but what has been happening over the past in recent times has bothered many of us, and so we have decided to make our anxieties known to the powers that be.
Right, so you also mentioned the media in this, about the clampdown on the media. Could you elaborate on that? Because at this point in time, just to be specific, when you say media outlets, you say scholars, you say other entities also. Who are you referring to? And of course, what more can you talk about that?
No, I wouldn't like to name any one particular print or electronic media. Because it is generally we are reading in the mainstream media only what is getting news which we are supposed to see, and there has been on one electronic media there has been I think some sort of case against it.
All right, sir, and when you say the targeting of Muslims and Dalits and mob lynchings in general, you are also specifically referring, because I asked you about a final push earlier, there was a situation of a 16-year-old Muslim boy who was, of course, attacked on a train near Delhi. Was that, if you actually take into context that final push, was that the final push?
That may not be specifically the final push. It is not as though this was not happening in past times also. It was happening. But what is happening in more recent times is that there has been a kind of vigilantism which the public is taking law into its own hands. That is what bothered us.
And so when you refer to the climate of fear, that is something that it has to be backed by facts. And while facts are hard to get because every particular case of an attack becomes a legal case and it's difficult to prove instantly who did what. To then say that there is a climate of fear could also by critics be thought of as unnecessary, creating that propaganda or conscience in people of thinking that there is a climate of fear when probably there isn't any.
Well, there is definitely a climate of fear because the people who are normally the farmers who are trading in, who are selling off their cattle and so on, they are afraid to take their cattle for sale, and people who are dealing in meat, they are having problems also. So there is a climate of fear. I think that's undeniable.
Sir, the armed forces represents everything that is, of course, got nothing to do with politics. It is in that context that you've written this letter also. What does it just make you feel as somebody who's represented the army that has great character and great values? How is it that the army can be a learning lesson for all the people that you are referring to when you say violence against Dalits and Muslims and mob lynchings in general?
It is not the army. We are speaking for the veterans. The army, we are not speaking for the serving army.
But you've served for the army, and your values come from there, sir.
Of course, of course. And in the army, or in the defense services, all three services, secularism is a very important part of our functioning, because soldiers from all religions, from all languages, all regional backgrounds, all cultures, we stand shoulder to shoulder when we fight. So these are the values which are enshrined in our constitution, and that's what we follow in the defense services.